All right, we're going to spend a little bit more time looking at dictionaries now, because they're a weird thing to think about, to be honest. So we're going to just get a little bit of practice in creating them and then manipulating or changing things in them. So, I mean, in the other video, we did talk about how you can make a dictionary sort of, right on the fly. But, if you, a lot of times in life, like one of the nice things about dictionaries is you can add entries and remove entries or change those entries. So, and a lot of times you're going to be building up dictionaries based off of data readings or something. And in that case, you need to kind of know how to make a dictionary, not all at once, but maybe in pieces. So I'm going to just open up a new Python file. Let me just save it before I forget it. Dictionary practice.py. All right, and let's make a dictionary. And what we're going to do is, and this is a good thing to learn on, we're going to just make an empty dictionary. So instead, let's come up with a dictionary called state population. Probably help to spell it correctly. State population. We're going to make it just an empty dictionary, and you can do that by doing two curly braces, just like this. Now, I want to add in a few entries that are associated with the state like the populations of those states. So if we want to make a new entry, we can do state population. We can do square bracket, whatever we want the key of the dictionary to be. And so let's do California. And here we go. And we can see, California has 38,332,521 people in it as of 2013. So let me actually just highlight that. Get rid of these commas because Python doesn't know what that means. All right, and in doing that, okay, so now we've said there's an entry in state population, which is California, and it's 38 million, blah, 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 blah. All right, if we wanted to add another entry, so let's do state population. I don't know, let's pick another state. Let's pick, what are we feeling like? What's a good state? I mean, they're all good states, right? Missouri, that's a good one. 6,044,171. Whoops. And again, I'm copy pasting these numbers in, but I'm getting rid of the commas, right? Okay. Now we have a state population dictionary with two states in it. All right, so if we were to save this and run it, it's over here. Now if we were to do state population, you can see a dictionary pops out. Interesting. So if I do state population, of one of the things in there, one of the keys, we get the number back. Very nice. What if I do state population of Pennsylvania, my home state, Pennsylvania? Interesting. So what is this saying? It's saying, okay, trace back. Now, as you see an error, don't necessarily flee from it, right? It's telling you, useful information. It's saying, state population Pennsylvania, there's a key error. And a key error means there's an error on the key. In particular, we should be able to start thinking, there's no key called Pennsylvania because we never made one, right? So if we were to go, back here, we could make it a Pennsylvania one if we wanted. Now, just like with any sort of, other element, so like we've learned we can do, x plus equals 3 or something. I mean, if let's say x was at first 5 and then we did x plus equals 3, that would say afterwards x equals 8. That's perfectly legitimate. We can do that with state population values too. Or I mean with entries on a dictionary, if I'm being more specific. So let's say after we created the dictionary, let's say this is 10 years later, we figure out that actually California's population has increased by 2 million. And we want to have the dictionary represent that. So before we do that, let's actually print the dictionary. State population. Okay. And then let's say 10 years later, we want to actually increase the population of California. We could do that by doing state population of California plus equals 2e to the 6. Okay, all I'm doing is looking up the California entry in state population and increasing it by 2 million, just like you would do with any sort of variable. All right, and then if we were to do and just print state population again, so we can see what would happen. So, early on, it's this. 10 years later, we've added 2 million people to the population of California. Awesome. We can use another thing which is really, really useful in with dictionaries is the keys method. And so we can iterate through, or I mean, one of the uses is maybe for iterating. So for example, we could do for x in state population dot keys print. Let's build up a string using string concatenation. The population of space plus state population of x, because x is the individual keys of the dictionary, plus space is space plus, oh wait, whoops, messed that up. Let's do the population of x is plus state population of x. And what's this doing? It's saying the population of string plus x. X is the individual keys of state population. And so in this case, it's going to be California, Missouri, etc. Well, only those two because that's all we got in this dictionary. Add on is, and then we're adding on the state population of x. So we're looking up the associated entry for a given key. So if we run this, what do we get? Whoops, whoa. Oh, another error. This is a good learning moment. So we can't convert a float object to string implicitly. Where that's failing is we're putting a string with a string, the x, right? That's the name. And then is, and then state population of x. What data type do you think that is? Well, one thing we can actually do just to check, this will be good, is let's do type of state population of x, okay? So now every time through, we're going to actually print the type of the dictionary entry. So if we F5 run it, okay, right before it crashes, we actually see, oh, state population of x is a float, which makes sense because the population is a number, right? In Python, you cannot, whenever you're actually merging, like concatenating things, right, it gets confused because this is a string and this is a float. And a plus operator means different things for strings and floats. So what we need to do is cast this float as a string. Okay. Now let me just get rid of this thing because that was a good debugging line. Do you see how I added a print statement and then used it to debug and then I could remove it? And let's run it again. Oh, cool. The population of California is this. Population of Missouri is this. And we could do that for anything, right? So do you see, like, focus on this code a little bit because I think it's really, really useful. But it's, we're using both the key and the entry. And of course, we could go through and add more keys or entries or change keys. We could remove keys too as needed. It totally depends on what your need is.